Hey, what's up? So I wanted to talk about my thoughts and experience with the Assassin's Creed series. I do have to say a couple things first. A friend of mine, he's been bugging me for a while. Not bugging me, but he's been asking me for a while. Where's the game videos? Where's the streams and stuff like that? And that world is dead to me. Unfortunately, I can't go back to things the way they were. I just can't. So I still love video games. I'm still trying to play them, but they don't distract me like they used to. Right now, I'm not really playing anything. I've jumped into Diablo because it's an easy game to just throw on and play. But I'm also kind of sick of it. So I'm hoping to get into some newer games coming out. Like I look forward to Forspoken. I think that looks pretty cool. Um, Other than that, there's nothing really like. There's some games I've been waiting to come out on sale so I can pick up and play. I'm not really gaming right now. Um, Anyways, so I did. It's funny. The only reason I'm making this video is because I just came across there's a new article talking about Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I've been looking at it here and there. Looking forward to Assassin's Creed Mirage a little bit. What they've shared so far is not a whole lot, but I'm like, all right. It sounds like they're trying to go back more to their roots, kind of a thing. We'll see. Um, but it also sounds interesting, and I kind of hate all the newer games like Origins through Valhalla, Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. In comparison to the previous games, like I basically hate the new ones. Um, Origins, as far as stories though, the writing, the quests, it's beautiful. So it's the writing is some of the best I've ever seen in a game. Mostly, it's also I think it's also a part of my own mentality and my own things that stuff. The reason I like Origins so much is because while I was playing through it, I started to notice like how real those stories are, how relatable they are, even to current times. Sadly, like if you go play that game, understand that pretty much everything in that is not only history, but things that still happen right now. You want a glimpse at reality, the way the system works, the way that things happen, play Origins. I'm serious. I've been made fun of for it, but I've also been made fun of for a long time saying Skynet's coming. Skynet. I mean, I saw it in the 90s. I saw it then, man. You know, all this tech stuff, it's real, and they keep making it worse. And that's the goal, man. It's the goal. Anyways, the Origins has the best stories. Gameplay wise, I can't stand the new games. They got too Dark Soulsy, and I don't mean challenge wise. I just mean the actual combat wise. It was like I I just will never appreciate that. I liked Assassin's Creed the way it was. You know, I think most fans did. Right now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't change things and try to make them better. Right, like there's always room for improvement here and there. Right, but you know what that reminds me of. Um, so the changes for Assassin's Creed started in Unity. Unity was the first game where you could see that they wanted. Oh man, I'm on a different computer with no ad block. Gross. I wasn't sure if that would happen. Anyways, okay, well, never mind that then. Jeez, what a pain. I thought I was gonna just leave like a bunch of GMVs autoplay, but never mind. Screw that. Anyways, Unity was the first game where you could see the it was changing. It was no longer the Assassin's Creed we previously enjoyed, and it wasn't like I thought. I remember at the time thinking Unity was the most ambitious game in the series. Most ambitious. You could see the work and the soul that went into that game. You could see it, man. It was deep. It was broken as hell. It was sloppy. Some of the sloppiest crap I have ever played through. But it is beautiful, and it was I could see what they were trying to do with it, and it was excellent as far as the vision. Um, but it needed a whole lot more polish, that's for sure. But yeah, no, so that was the first game in the series that really was changing it. And I thought not for the better. I mean, especially the way they did things, the whole RPG elements, you could get different pieces of armor and you could make your character look different, and that's the thing with a lot of the new games. Now you have the transmog thing going on, which is cool. It's wonderful to have that transmog thing, which they removed from Valhalla for some reason. Idiots, stupid idiots. um, um, yeah. But the thing was you couldn't really customize your character because it was all based on stats still, right? So all the armor you got, it looked cool, and they had all these different things that were like, whoa, this looks really cool. But if you actually wanted to progress through the game, you had to buy the best that you could to get through the game. So you couldn't really actually customize the character, even though there was a lot of available customization kind of a thing. So that was sloppy. That was very sloppy, among other things in the game that were sloppy. So anyways, my favorite in the older games is Rogue. And I was surprised. I only played that like a year or two ago. It was more recent. It was probably a couple years ago. But I finally got around to playing that game. And I was like, oh man, I wish I had played this sooner, because one of my favorite games of the old ones was 4, but I hated the stories. I hated the story in 4. It was all pirate stuff, and I don't hate pirates or anything, but it was just so boring. It was really boring. Did not enjoy the story of part 4. My favorite parts in all the games, all the Assassin's Creed games, is like the Apple of Eden stuff, the God stuff. I think they're called Isu or something. Those were my favorite parts. I always wanted more, and they were always such short parts of the game. You'd play like 10 hours and you get like this 2-minute like bit that was like, whoa. I also like the present time stuff when we were in the present time parts. It's not that I think my hair looks bad. It's just I can feel it and it's really annoying. So anyway, Rogue was actually really good. I think Rogue was the best of the older games, mostly due to the polish. Like you could see how it came to be, right? If you played all the previous ones, Assassin's Creed 1 through 4, even Liberation. Like I liked Liberation. I thought that was cool. I liked their the costume change thing. I thought the concept was cool. It was neat. I can't remember having a very specific problem with it, other than just always having to go back to like a certain headquarter to change your outfit, which kind of makes sense, Would be cool if you could just find like a different spot anywhere, kind of, and do that. Pull a Superman in a telephone booth or whatever. But I like the costume swap, the way that your abilities would change based on which costume you were wearing. Kind of gave it that like role playing feel to it, kind of a thing. Yeah, Rogue was just the best of that, just because of the polish. It was perfect. It was basically perfection of everything combined from all the previous games. One thing I've just remembered this right now. One thing I always missed every time, which kind of makes sense too, because I remember they had all these little mini games that they kept adding here and there throughout the series. The parts where you could send assassins to go hunt, they were just little side missions. You go to the little bird perch thing, and you send an assassin to go get XP and whatever. I thought those were cool. They were fun little side missions to do. You didn't even like take part in them. It was just a little fun mini game to go click on or whatever. I liked them, and they always took them out. You didn't see them in the future games, right? I think there was like 2 games. I think they were both the Ezio ones though, like part. Who was it? Brotherhood and Revelations, I think. And then Revelations added the tower defense type game. And you know what's funny about that is I remember I hated that the first time I played that game, the first time I played Revelations. The main reason was because they forced it on you, right? And only, I think, the first time. They forced it on you at least once for the story, and it didn't give you the tutorial kind of a thing. But it just took me out of the game, and then I was over here playing this little mini game that I didn't want to play, and it bugged the crap out of me. But then it wasn't that the mini game itself was bad. It's actually really cool. It was really freaking cool that it was being forced to do it that took me out of what I wanted to do. Like it kind of reminds me of like Just Cause 2, where like to progress through the story, you had to do random crap. Like you couldn't just play the story. You had to go do random things that I was not in the mood to do, So yeah, it was kind of like that. You were forced to do this thing that you didn't want to do. But when I had replayed it again, like a few years ago or so, I expected it this time, so I knew it was going to come. And I was also taking my time, a little more patient while playing through it. But I was expecting it. I knew there was going to be a point where I was going to do that, be forced into that little mini game, and so I had more patience with it. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I wish they had kept that in the series. It was neat. And again, a lot of their little side mini games would have been cool to continue on. I never understood why they would just flat out remove them instead of try to improve them and make them a little bit more optional and just fun things to have, because they were cool. They were very cool. But yeah, so as story, Rogue Story was pretty good. I don't remember it all right now. I do remember liking it though. The world and the gameplay was excellent. And it's just for me it was the best of the older games because just the way the polish was done, everything was. You could tell that was like boom, this is what we got from all our previous games. This is it, And then Unity was really sloppy. Incredibly ambitious, and Syndicate was okay. I liked Syndicate. Actually, it's funny. I remember the first time I played it, I did not like the grapple hook. I was like, wow, this is stupid. Sometimes in a game like that, especially when you're used to the series, like a new thing like that just felt so unnatural, and it just didn't feel like a part of the game. And then again, when I went back a few years ago, I was playing through the whole series. I played through all of them again. And I played through it again. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I just appreciated it more because climbing could be very slow and stuff. The grapple, you're just like zipping around. It was cool. And the world is amazing in Syndicate. Oh my gosh, I love that world that they built. It wasn't as deep as Unity. Unity is... I'm still always deeply impressed by Unity. I still think it's even better than like the newer games, Origins through Valhalla. Origins through Valhalla are bigger and... generally better. They're improvements big time, but Unity, the ambition, like the buildings, the detail, the in and out, is wow. Very impressive for a very sloppy, messy game. But yeah, anyways, Origins has the best stories of the newer games. Odyssey bored the living crap out of me. I still haven't beaten it. I think I beat the main game and I was playing through the DLC, and that's what sucks too, man. Oh my gosh, the DLC, you sons of bastards. These guys are greedy dicks, man. They're just so Ubisoft just does not stop getting greedier, dude. They don't. They literally get greedier with every single new game that they make. It's just like, okay. And they make great games. Their games are super cool, man. But damn, if they just... I'll give you an example. Origins and Odyssey. Origins... had DLC, the same types of DLC that Odyssey has in Valhalla. But it also had a bunch of unlockable costumes from the game itself that you didn't have to pay real money for. And they were cool ones. They had a lot of really cool ones that were included with the game, from side missions and just story parts, as well as the regular ones you could buy from the regular market. But they're unlockable ones from having completed certain missions and stuff, and they had some really cool costumes that were not DLC. I was like, whoa, damn. And then Odyssey comes along and no cool costumes from playing the game. It's all DLC. Same with the mounts, so they just worse and worse. They just keep taking away and making you pay more money for everything every time, man, every damn time. It's disgusting. So the games are great, the content is cool, but oh my gosh, it's horrible. I still can't believe Valhalla removed the transmog thing. As far as I can remember, I might be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure, right? That was gone. Why would you? What the hell? I had played it recently, even I don't know, a few months ago or whatever. I have over 100 hours played on each of these games: Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and I hate all of them in comparison to the older ones. In comparison, right? I don't hate them exactly for themselves, but I would rather play the old ones. They remind me of, I forgot I was going to say this earlier, but it reminds me of Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 changed the entire series. That's what Unity did to Assassin's Creed. You could see that that's what they wanted to do. Resident Evil 4 was no longer Resident Evil. Not Resident Evil anymore after that. It was not the same. I loved that series. Loved it. And then 4 came out and I was like, what have you done? And a lot of people preferred it. Not me, man. I was like, no, this ain't Resident Evil anymore. You might as well have given it a different name. And so I don't hate the games outright or anything, but it's not the same anymore. So Mirage is coming out, and it seems like that they're they say they're gonna get more intimate. This was like an interview they did with Games Radar or something, and I was like, all right. And it looks interesting. It sounds interesting story wise. Man, we'll see what happens. But I feel so out of the newest games, it's mostly the combat that I don't like because again, it's just completely different from the originals. And I also have seen the arguments people talking about how they were too easy, which I could sure it was good though. Like they were good and fun. Like sometimes something being too easy doesn't make it not fun and cool. You know, Assassin's Creed was awesome. There's a reason people loved it, man. It was also the story. There was all kinds of stuff involved. It made it really good, you know. And it wasn't because the combat wasn't advanced enough. It was good, but it also makes sense. Even well, I was gonna say it makes sense for developers to want to change, right? They want to do something new and different. But that's the funny thing about it, thinking about it, like I'm trying to think about it too, because I remember like even like Watch Dogs, every series that Ubisoft has done, they've never used the same developer team from the first game. Like Watch Dogs 1 were not the same people that did Part 2. They were not the same people that did Legion. And you can tell when you play the damn things. You can tell. One was the best damn game in Watch Dogs. It was the best damn game in that freaking series. I love Part 2. I love Part 2. I like Legion. I thought the stories in Legion were really cool, really good. I liked them. Other people thought they were crap. I liked the stories in Legion. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. But gameplay wise, crap compared to the previous games. Like it's like Part 2 made things from Part 1 worse. It also made some things better. I liked the drones in Part 2. I thought that was cool. And I can't remember, like they were missing the digital trips. Digital trips were some of the coolest things in the first game. And also the mini games. There were so many mini games in Part 1. So many things. There was so much extra fun stuff to do. And then Legion just murdered everything. It took everything good about the first two games and destroyed it. Completely just right. And it was a different developer team. Yeah, so the stories were great though. I think the stories in Legion are worth playing through. And I ended up getting the DLC as well, and I liked it. I was surprised. I was like, oh, you know what? That was actually a really damn good DLC. I did get it on sale. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I got it on sale. Anyways, yeah. So I guess I'm trying to think of what else I would say, but if you haven't played Rogue, it took me a long time. I remember seeing good reviews about it. I remember seeing people saying good things about it. I was not in the mood to play Rogue when I first saw it, and I was like, it seems like I think it came out at the same time as Part 3, though, if I remember right? Like, it was just weird. So it felt and seemed like it was just going to be this side junk game. But no, it's a real good full game, and it's the best of the older games. Part 4 has the best world. I love it's so beautiful and wonderful. Rogue is also beautiful and wonderful, but 4 had my favorite environments and stuff. Revelations was my favorite of the Ezio trilogy just because of the story. I really liked the finale, and I always forget there was just something about the story that I really liked. It was really well done, and there was a lot of parts in Revelations that were just so cool, man. Like especially the stagecoach chase parts and stuff; those were a lot of fun. And you know the funny thing about it is that if I remember right, Revelations was not only the smallest of that trilogy world-wise, but also the shortest story-wise. And that always sucks. It's funny that it makes me think of like the comparison to the newer games where bigger and longer isn't always better. And what happens is the reason we want more is because it's so good, right? We want more because it's like, oh, it's over too soon. No, I want more. And then we get another game that comes out and it's so much more and it's just a bunch of crap. So that was one thing that I was impressed by in Origins. All the side missions most of them had really good stories. I probably like a couple that I didn't care. Most of the stories were really good. But I also happened to be in the mood for it, you know. It's one of those games where like for me, it was all about the story. Yeah, I hated the gameplay. And I played it on easy. Yeah, all three of the newer games I played on easy just to be able to play through them. I don't like the combat system. I think it's terrible. Uh, but the stories really had me immersed into Origins. Loved the stories. So impressed. And Odyssey, the thing, like, I love the world. The thing about the story, there's some cool stuff in Odyssey, but overall, the story bore me. To me, it's like Assassin's Creed 4, where I just was not interested in the story. Parts of it are really good, parts of it, but most of it, I was like, And yeah, and then the DLC has really cool stuff in it. So it's like, you bastards, this DLC stuff has to end, especially when your DLC is going to have like an important key part of the story. It's just ridiculous, man. Put that in the main damn game. You know what I mean? I want to slap them all so hard. And Valhalla, I don't even know. The story is the intro of the story was really good, but the actual ongoing story, I still don't even care. Like, I have so many hours played on that game. The world is incredible. That's the thing about the worlds are incredible. Gameplay sucks, story sucks. So Origins really good story wise. Yeah. So I was pushing myself through the I forget what the DLC is named in Odyssey. The mythology thing. If you go and you talk with, I forget. It's a little bit more fantastical or whatever. I mean, Odyssey is all that. It's the whole Greek mythology and stuff, which is really cool. Like, you know what's funny to me? What it kind of makes me mad? I've always been interested in Greek mythology ever since I first heard of it and seen it. I've never really gotten into it though. And so I thought that would be cool in that game. And then I was playing that. The stories were just so boring. I was so bored. I was like, dude, this is dumb. And that's another thing about it that reminds me of Part 4, where like the stories in Odyssey are more focused on the celebrity status of names rather than the actual story. There were really good parts in it. There's some really good writing, but generally it just made me like, it was just like they were selling celebrity, and that was what Part 4 did for me in my mind. That's how I saw it. It was just they were just selling the celebrity of named pirates. It was just. And Assassin's Creed 3 did the same thing, It was just like, oh, we get to meet all these historical characters, but the story wasn't really that good. I loved Connor. I thought Connor was cool. I thought his family was cool. I liked the little bits of his story were pretty cool, but generally not an interesting story. So Origins, really good stories, man. All right, I'm trying to think of. I think that's all I had to say. I repeated myself a bunch there, but yeah. So I like the series generally, but I'm not a fan of the new changes. Not a fan of the new combat. In comparison, because it's just the game is not the same anymore, And it all started with Unity, and again, highly ambitious, incredibly impressive, but very sloppy. And the change of the series downhill for me. So I'm hoping we'll see what happens with Mirage. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye bye.